Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems. Hey, I'm Tom Gozy. This week on Hot and Cold, us three old guys are moving a 450-pound stove into our project house. Why, you ask? Had something to do with that hearth we did. Well, you've been waiting for this show. You have, and you don't want to go anywhere. Stay right there. So here we are this week. Finally, we've been waiting for this for a long time, and we've got assembled experts, of which I am not one. But we have Ray Graham from Evergreen Home Solutions, and we have Jim Rocket, also from Evergreen Home Solutions, and we are going to install this pellet stove, which is a Harman XXV 25.
This is the 25, yes.
This is
the anniversary stove.
This is the happy anniversary stove for Harman, and this is a really simple process. We don't have much to do here.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're all doing this.
Yes.
It's a half-hour TV
Simple
show.
is good.
And what we start out with is at the beginning, we have a little flange here that is the output from the stove. And there's a gasket here. You can see the white gasket. And there are just 3 bolts that we bolt on, tighten down the gasket. And this is where the flue pipe is going to go. And we would do this whether we were hooking it up to a chimney or direct venting it. In our case, we're direct venting it. Ray has taken off the covers here because we're going to get into the working parts of the unit. And just going to cinch that up. Now, this is a cast iron flange we have, and the pellet pipe will caulk to this and go out through the wall. We'll be poking the hole out through the wall in a minute. That's the only...
We're looking for gas-tight seal.
Right,
at that
and that's
location.
the only one we need to physically seal. All the rest just snap together and are made
and
to...
they will be gas-tight as they go together.
Okay. And over here we have the power cord, which I have been instructed to have a knife, which we have many knives. We are dangerous people. And there's the power cord, just wound up inside the unit. While we're right here at the business end, we might as well look at it because we're going to have it covered up in a few minutes. We have got the blower, combustion air blower. We've got the auger mechanism up here. Here's the auger motor, and it's got a chain drive to the actual auger itself. Is that a fresh air inlet there? If you want to, fresh air inlet. If you want to bring air from outside in, you see it's got a little damper on it there. We're not going to do that. And then Ray has what is the most important, one of the most important parts.
This is a modulating thermistor, so that it modulates the feed rate into the stove, so that as the room warms up, the stove calms back down. Very automatic. It's one of the latest technologies that we're working with.
And this is so we have a thermostatically controlled stove that is functioning like a central heating system in the living area. And all of a sudden now, what we're doing while we're doing this is we're putting the heating device in the room with us. We're going to save energy because we're not heating places where we are not, which is usually the basement. As efficient as the central heating system is we have here, this is going to halve the heating cost of the building, and it's going to keep it right on temperature all the time. Plus or minus 1 degree, I think, is where we are. And I know we have one of these, another Harman stove that we put in a couple of years ago with Jim, and it stays right on the money and does a fantastic job and is functioning as the heat for the building. That's the only heat we have in that building. So, and Ray is putting spade connectors on the thermistor, so that just plugs right onto the unit. And somewhere in there, maybe? No.
Right up here in the top.
Oh, okay, right there. We got a nice little plug right in the back. Very convenient.
Very
Two spade connectors. So We can get to that anytime we need to. And what we're going to do next is, oh, by the way, we grouted last week while you weren't here, so we're all set with the hearth. And we're going to bring this. Do we need to bring this up, or do you?
No, I measured from the finished floor to the center of the flue.
Okay.
Then I measured 8.5 inches.
Yep.
Then I measured from your finished hearth up 8.5 inches and made a cross in the wall. And that's
Right
where
there.
we drill a hole.
We're going to poke a hole through the wall. We knew we had to do some destruction. That's good stuff.
Making holes in homes, that's fun.
That's why we make the big bucks. So we're going to get some tools and start to destroy. Okay, so what we have now is a long drill bit, so we can do a pilot hole to see where we're going to, and that's backwards. We want it frontwards. And Jim, that looks level to you?
Drop your hand a little bit. Walk up and in pretty well.
And Ray's outside.
No blood on the bit.
No blood,
His hand
no flesh, so I think we're okay. Hopefully that came all the way through. Now, with that pilot hole done, we need to do a hole how big?
About 7 inches. So if we measure out from the center, about 3.5, 4 inches.
And we're doing a square hole?
We can do a square or a round hole.
We have options. Okay, so what we've done is we've now marked a square hole and a round hole. We have options. And we're going to just recip saw, I guess, the round hole. And I think we're going through a lathe, old plaster, and the sheetrock. So we'll see what kind of mischief we get into. Oh, it's nice.
Insulated wall, Tom.
This is a wall that actually has insulation in it. And I think what we could do, I know it's not very dense, so we just push the cellulose down. And, oh dear, there's a big hunk of wood right there. That's a piece of strapping. It's not 2x4 is right at the edge here, so we're okay there. But there's a strapping on the outside of it, so we'll have to go outside and whittle on that a little bit, and then we'll be ready to almost be done. So what we're doing is we're out here, we're going to do a square hole because it's easier to cut on the outside. And we have the outside of the thimble, which will go into the hole, made up with the inside thimble. And we will either trim the vinyl back, or probably we're just going to go right over the vinyl, because as you recall, this vinyl is going bye-bye come spring. And we don't need to get too fancy. We just want to make it look somewhat presentable so people know that it's a bona fide home improvement show, as opposed to a bunch of goobers who don't know what they're doing. I'm speaking about myself, not you guys, when I say that. I don't want, you don't insult the guests when you have them on the TV show. That's an important thing. Speaking of which, I need to apologize to them now. So we're going to take a break while I apologize, and we'll be right back. Hey, we're back, and we made an incredible discovery here, considering the fact we're putting a pellet stove in that's so safe. Look at that. Mr. Man, that is some Chad right there.
She's been hot.
Makes me wonder what we're going to find when we take the siding off. And there we are to the inside. We still got to cut that piece, but looks like we got the clearance we need, guys. Yep. That's got to come off. All right. So Jim has the thimble put from the inside out. And Ray, this is like a rock wool insulation?
That's a rock wool insulation to give more protection.
Because we're going to be passing heat out through this pipe. And we would cut this flush with the outside of the wall pretty much?
Yes, cut it flush now, and then save
Okay.
the exterior for when you add the insulation to this building.
Okay. And we go this way. If I keep my fingers out of the way, that'd probably be good, huh? There we go. Thank you. There we go. All right, I think that's... And this goes over the outside. And that goes like so. We just need to tuck that in, right?
Yep, tuck all the insulation in and that'll slide in and mate with the piece that Jim has on the interior.
And
I believe it goes outside of the inside unit.
there we go. I think we got her.
Yep.
By Godfrey, look at that.
And later we'll screw that right to the siding
Yep.
and then seal everything up.
Jim, is that you? Okay.
Those tabs.
All right. Actually makes the vinyl look better. By the way, while we're out here, Ray, proximity to the window. We're losing this window.
That's correct.
Would it have been an issue if we didn't?
It should have been checked
Yep.
to make sure, because there is a
Right.
proximity to the window, generally 12 inches from the
Okay.
window.
So going from the center there,
Going from the edge of it,
or the edge,
edge of the pipe.
we would be 16, 18 inches. So we
But
would
it's
still be
always
legal.
important to check the owner's manual to
Right.
see what that appliance requires.
Right. We talked about that when we were laying it out, and I knew we were going to get rid of this window. So, all right, I guess we can go inside now.
Warm up a little bit.
Warm up. We're getting close to being really warm. Okay, so now we've come back inside. We've got the thimble that Jim put in place that made it to the one on the outside, and Jim has already run the pipe out, and that is just a double wall pipe with no insulation.
It's stainless steel inside with galvanized steel on the outside.
And
so
the airspace is the insulation.
it's an insulated
and
airspace.
of course then we have the rock wool on the outside.
Second band of insulation.
And then there's
plus
an air-
the shield provides insulation.
Right.
Safety is a big issue on any type of installation.
Sure. And then Jim has also mated up the adapter, which, what is that, 3-inch to 4-inch?
That's a 3-inch to 4-inch
Okay.
adapter.
So now he's siliconed that in place, and we will mate, there's a rubber seal here, a rubber gasket, that we will bring the stove in a few minutes. We're just waiting for the silicone to set up, and we're going to put the two together. And there's a special secret. We won't tell them yet. We're gonna.
I'm gonna sneak up on
We're gonna use special home improvement products. So we'll just let that set for a few moments, and then we'll be good to go. And I just want you to know that most discriminating stove installers use palm olive because it's soft on your hands. And we just take a little dab of palm olive. We have. Whoop, that's not a little dab, is it? It also flows very well. And we're gonna put that on the rubber gasket because it's slippery. And it smells good. It's the green apple, which is my favorite. And then we just bring the two together. So the guys have brought the stove in so we can just slide the pipe in.
Just keep rotating.
And rotate it.
Do you know any French?
Don't make me laugh while I'm doing this.
You may not have enough palm olive on there.
Maybe not, but it's going. I'm rotating
Nope, that's
here.
okay.
That's okay, we can re-silicone.
Okay, I think we want that bottomed out all the way?
Yep.
Yeah. You hang on to the 3-inch, and I'm
Yep.
gonna rotate that some more.
I can push the
There we
pipe
go.
to the outside.
It's coming. All right, that's one. Was that the only pilot hole? Oh, no, there's one there. I see it. Yeah. And usually you put 3 screws when you do any kind of ducting, and I'll pass that over to you, Jim, and you get that last one. Oh, you want the screw too? I mean, gosh.
Helps.
Did it fall over there by you? Tom lost the screw, which is...
We have other screws. Not the only screw.
There it is, Jim. Here it is.
Bunch of screw
It was
bolts.
over on your side.
Does not surprise me.
Okay.
I'm just a little concerned that the pipe looks a little crooked.
Well,
Right here.
yep. Do we want to straighten that, or?
No, let's push it in first and see
Okay.
what happens.
All right. So
Ready?
now we can just...
Just want to keep it straight. My side. Gotta go back a little more.
Okay.
What is the clearance on the back on that, Jim?
3 inches. We're gonna be plenty.
3 inches.
I think it's 3 inches.
Wow.
Let's go and check.
Yep.
We always check with the manual.
And so far, we only have 7.5.
Okay.
So we can go back a little further.
Well, that's a good spot right there, I
This screw's
think.
gonna hit anyway, so we
Yeah,
go back.
well, we'll leave it right there. That's adequate. All right, guys, Are we done, just about?
Well, we're finishing up,
We're
like
finishing-
siliconing the thimble on the outside.
Okay.
Weather stripping that a little bit. And after
But
that,
if we were freezing to death,
we'd fire the
we could fire it up
this
right
up.
now.
That's right.
All right, so let's go, we gotta get some screws on the outside,
Put
To
a
hold-
cap on the outside.
put the cap on the outside and silicone it. And while we're doing that, Ray will probably start to get things set up in here, so out to the exterior again. All right, so we're outside now and we're just tying the outer part of the thimble down. And as I say, this is kind of a temporary setup because we will be redoing this outside. We did a little checking in the manual, which is always a good thing to do. If this was an operable window, we would have to be 48 inches away from it. It's not an operable window. We could get around this issue if we sealed the window. We could actually have left the window in place. We wanted to get rid of it anyway, so that wasn't a big deal. So Jim, now we've got this screwed in place. We're going to silicone the top.
Yep.
And we got some palm olive. Let's do the palm olive thing first, huh? There's some tape here. We'll get the tape off of the pipe. And you've got a cool looking nozzle. We have to be 12 inches, at least 12 inches off the building with the vent.
From here to the end of the pipe before the cap goes on.
Okay, so we've done that.
Better than that.
And I don't know if it's critical this tape be off there, but it seems like it's a good idea.
And the cap is designed so that when you put it on, if you have prevailing winds coming, say, from behind Tom, you can actually angle it away from the prevailing winds.
I like that.
But in our case, we're in a pretty dead area, so we're just going to go down.
Yep. I don't think I put enough detergent on the other one,
No, it was pretty dry.
but we're there now.
See how well we
Let's see how this one goes on. Like butter.
butter.
All right, so we'll leave it straight down and we're gonna just silicone the, you want me to silicone it or?
Go ahead. Just a good heavy bead on the top
Yep.
and sides. It's only temporary.
Yeah. And this is a high temperature silicone?
Yep, 500 degrees.
All right.
High enough.
High enough for what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go any further. I'm gonna go with regular caulk because there's a big gap there. We're siliconing this?
Nope.
Okay, that's friction fit.
Yep.
And
We're ready to go.
I think
Ready
we have to take a
fire.
break. What great timing. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and make a fire and we'll talk about the stove. Oh, good stuff. We'll be right back. All right, well, we are inside now. Everything is hooked up. I've turned the unit on. Ray has filled the auger with pellets to get pellets into the burn pot, which we'll see that in a few moments. And it takes a little while when you have an empty stove to fill the auger and get everything done. So that's all done now. We're waiting for the fire to start. While we're waiting for that, we want to take a look at the controls. And we have a little control panel here that's kind of hidden away on the side. We're going to pop it out like that. And we have a lot of different knobs. It's pretty simple. We've got a temperature control. When the thermostat is hooked up, that sensor Ray showed us in the first segment, is plugged in. We set for the room temperature. 70 degrees would be a good place to be for most homes. Right now that's not plugged in, so we're working off stove temp. When we hook it up, we'll go to room temp. Stove temp is just a temperature on the unit itself to maintain the stove at a given temperature. Functions just like a wood stove would. It's just going to run and keep warm, except it feeds fuel itself. We don't have to put sticks of wood into it. Down at the bottom here we have a feed adjuster which varies the speed of the auger. 3 or 4 is the magic number for good pellets. If you get crummy pellets, you feed it in faster, and I guess if you have the world's greatest pellets, you feed it in slower. That would be something with a high heat content. But 3 or 4 is where most people will leave it most all the time. And that's pretty much it. We have a high-low switch in the back. Is that for the blower?
Yes, for the blower, we actually have 4 speeds on the blower. We have a high-low on that, and we have a high-low on the control board itself.
Okay.
So it gives you a great adjustment on this
Yeah,
stove.
there's a lot of variability here. So this is not a big house. We're only about 1,200 square feet. We don't need a lot of heat. So this is going to now, when we hook up the thermostat, turn itself on and off, just like the central heating system does. And all we need to do now is wait and see. It's not there. Is it? No, I'm seeing reflection. So Ray, you've got pellets. We can fill it up with pellets, right?
Yes,
just
we
pop
can.
the cover.
Yep.
And the bin holds what, about 40, 50 pounds? Okay. Now, while we're waiting for the fire to start, we could speak a little bit about the philosophy of using pellets. This goes in the back there, so that's why Jim's pushing them around. Pellets are made here in New England, and it's compressed sawdust.
It's a mill waste.
Yep.
It's a mill waste that we're able to utilize using local labor, local resources. We don't have to truck it all the way across the ocean. It's here in Maine. We're fortunate to have it. We're enjoying it.
And we're giving our money to keep our homes warm to people who probably like us, as opposed to people who, other parts of the world who sell us oil and petroleum products might not like us very well. So we've generated jobs here in New England, if not here in Maine. And there's now several mills here in Maine.
Yes, there are.
And I expect we'll see more as time goes on, because
Yes, it's getting more and more popular as people realize our world energy situation will continue in the trend that it has over the past 6 to 8 months.
And we have a carbon neutral fuel source. The difference between carbon neutral and petroleum products is petroleum products, that carbon has been sequestered underground for millions of years. When you burn petroleum products, you dump all that carbon into the atmosphere, and we start to create a lot of environmental issues. This is short-term carbon that just came out of the woods in the past year or so and is current material, so we're not doing anything. That's why we call it carbon neutral. If it was in the woods and it fell to the ground, it would just rot and make carbon dioxide. We just happen to extract the heat out of it instead of fungus on the forest floor. So this is a very environmentally friendly way to do this. And I can't say enough about this thing over here, this little black box with the temperature sensor. This now brings us into the 21st century with comfort that pellet stoves were pretty comfortable before. They worked well, the minimal messing around. But when we start to get a stove that turns itself on and off based on room temperature,
Warm gets easy.
it gets very easy.
Yep.
And you now can, this really is and can be a central heating system for a lot of homes.
This is what a lot of people use as their primary heat
Yeah.
for their entire home.
Well, we have a Harman stove at our place of business down in Stockton Springs, and we have used it now for 3 years, Jim? It's three years. It is 3 years because we did it in January.
Yeah.
It was a very cold day, I remember well. That's the exclusive heating system for that building, and it does a fantastic job. So we're going to give it a few more moments here, and we're going to see fire. So a guy said fireworks. I don't want to heard that somewhere.
Yep.
So here we are, Ray. The automatic igniter has done its thing. Took a little bit longer than Ray and I were expecting. We kept asking Jim. Ray kept saying, "Are you sure it's working?" And this is what happens.
Patience works.
Patience works. So does fire. But the fire is just starting up now. And I put in the thermostat, and you probably can't see it from where your view is, but we can see pellets coming into the fire pot here. And there's little holes perforated in it, which brings in the air. And what makes these work so well, what makes these these pellets work so well, is we can get air around them, and we can carburate that fire. We can mix air with the fuel very efficiently, and that's why these burn so clean. And what's clean about them is, what exemplifies it is we can go right out the sidewall. We don't have to have a chimney.
And you notice I'm leaning on this stove. This stove is going. Granted, it will get warmer a little later,
Yep.
but
Top
the back can be 3 inches from a wooden wall.
Yeah.
Very low clearance
Yep.
because it's a cool operation in the back.
And I remember the first time we did this 3 years ago with Jim, I was doing a news clip or something, and I touched this door.
The glass.
The door is hot.
The
and so
door
is the
gets
glass.
hot.
But the rest is stays very well. And you can see the fires cranking up. 50,000 BTUs an hour this unit will put out. This is the biggest one Harman makes.
It's more than most people will need.
And this will do a good size house, much more than this house. The other thing is Harman makes a boiler and a furnace.
Yes, they do.
If you want to do central heating, I don't think that's fits many household needs.
The boilers come in handy for radiant floors now.
Absolutely.
So that people, they can adjust the temperature down and work a radiant floor very nicely
Okay.
with the pellet boiler.
And those are quite affordable. Harman is the only manufacturer that I can think of that has a good altogether system. There's a couple other ones out there that they're primarily, I think, for burning corn. I'm not real impressed with the technology. The Harman unit is quite affordable. The other ones out there is Tarm, but that's expensive compared to the Harman. And Harman, I think, does a lot more pellet stuff than Tarm does. So anyway, Ray, thank you.
Hey.
Jim, thank you. This has been a great project, and we will be reporting back to you on this and what kind of savings we're going to see. And I can tell you from experience, you guys can back me up on this, you're going to save 50% on your heating bill after you buy the pellets.
and you're using a local fuel source.
And it's automatic. Huh. And fireworks.
Think green.
I got it. Think green. We'll see you next week. Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems.